Welcome back to the Nerd Cave for this week's episode of Save Toys. I'm your host Travis, which no doubt you already knew as we've been doing Save Toys for almost a complete year now. Thank you so much for following me along the journey the whole way. This week's episode of Save Toys, we're going to be taking a look at the Masters of the Universe laser-powered He-Man and Laser Light Skeletor donated to the channel by the Save Toys Premium member, Jason Lowers. Now, you may remember at the beginning of January of this year, we did episode 21. It's a What I Think segment. If you get a chance, check it out. It was all about my action figure checklist of 2018. Well, with 2019, I've got a new action figure checklist, which involved adding a lot of MOTU to my action figure collection, as we don't really have a lot of He-Man representation, which is such a shame because He-Man is such a part of Save Toys history. It's where we get our name from. Back in the 80s, Christians everywhere thought He-Man was evil and nefarious and satanic, and I just never saw it. And also, I thought I had a better way to deal with the problem than just get rid of the He-Man. I lined them up on my bed as a young child. I preached to them. They all got saved. End of the story. And back in the day, I had Castle of Grayskull, Panther, Battle Cat, He-Man, Skeletor, Roboto, and so many more. And I grew up and looked around in my collection 25 years later and said, where's the He-Man stuff? And it's such a shame. So 2019 is the year to add MOTU to my collection. And today we're going to go over to the review booth and look at these action figures as they have such a great history behind them. So I have the power to go to the Nerd Cave and take a look at these figures. Meet me over there. Just like Santa Claus on December 25th, another episode of Save Toys come and gone. We're here in the review booth looking at my laser power He-Man and my laser light Skeletor. As I stated in the Nerd Cave, there's a certain amount of history that goes along with these action figures. These were put out by Mattel for the Masters Classic line, but they're reminiscent of the last original line of He-Man action figures released back in the 80s before they went into the new adventures of He-Man. These really bridge the gap between those two lines if you know much about them. He-Man all the way to the new adventures of He-Man when he's in space and has more of a techno look. These kind of hold both with each arm and keep them pulled together, keep them united, if you will. Now, I talk a lot on this channel about how much I think package is a part of the look and feel of the action figure that you buy, and this would be kind of one of those exceptions. It is within He-Man vogue. It's bricks from the Castle of Grayskull, but it just doesn't pop or do anything for me. In other words, I really am not going to have a problem opening these figures. Now, very quickly, let's turn to the back, and let's get that. There you go. There you go, there's a brief bio of the characters. You also have the other action figures in this wave. There you go. And of course, this great picture of He-Man and Skeletor down at the bottom. So now we're gonna open these figures up and take a look at them. Here they are out of the package. And before we take a look at them, I do wanna point out the pack-ins that came with this. These, let's see if I can hold it far enough back. There we go, the mini comics. They are fabulous. And I'm looking forward to look at the artwork. It's just, the colors are beautiful. Looking forward to kind of thumbing through these guys. Here's this other one right here. Great art. Oh wow. Yeah, this is going to be great. Definitely. All right. So we're here for He-Man and Skeletor though. And they are very bulky figures. I've got them kind of leaned up against the back of my photo booth because of their girth, but they are beautiful. Now we're going to look at He-Man first, of course, and I love the blue harness. You know me, I talk a lot about how I like vintage and variants, and these are something else that fits into both categories, as they're there to represent the vintage figures from the original MOTU line, but also they have a variant look about them with the blue. You know, He-Man typically has like a brown colored loincloth and a gray man's ear with the red battle cross on it, but this blue really looks good to me. I think it's a good good feel for He-Man. And let's get a little closer to it, the head sculpt. Let's see if we can get my camera close enough to it. Notice anything different or anything unique about this? It's because it looks somewhat like Dolph Lundgren from the original Masters of the Universe He-Man movie, which was out about the same time the original versions of these were released. It bears a striking resemblance to him. I love the metal gauntlet and the thicker sword. It's like a mixture between He-Man and Star Wars. As you know, He-Man was originally put up to compete against Kenner's Star Wars line. So what a great way to do his sword. I have seen his sword before on someone else's action figure, and the blade was bent slightly. This one actually pretty good and straight. I'm gonna try to get a little bit closer to the camera here. Oh, it just fell. Let's see. It doesn't stick in his arm very well. Now that's very disappointing. You have to kind of sit in there just right, and with that cord, it's going to pop out quite a bit. Maybe if we hold it up a little higher. There, well, there we go. But if you notice, the blade is overall pretty straight. And these figures, now the articulation in them is not very good, especially with these armor pieces that just pop right off. Even the harness, you can kind of take it to the back here, and I think it'll pop off right there at that joint right there. I think you can see it pretty good. I like the Space Age boots versus the Barbarian boots that he typically wears. That's pretty cool, little side pieces there. I think overall they really pulled this action figure together, except for this sword. That just irks me a little bit right there. I can't get him to hold. There we go. See, he'll make a liar out of me yet. And very quickly, before we show off the features, let's look at Skeletor right quick. And then we'll take a look at the action features of these figures. Now, Skeletor is really cool here. He's very bulky, and I didn't think I'd like him this way at first. Seeing pictures of him on the internet with the breastplate there, I thought it'd be just too bulky for his chest. It wouldn't look right. You know, he's got his chain link, I don't know whatever you want to call his outside underwear, his trunks, whatever you want to call them. They're pretty dang cool. And something about this figure that I want to show off that you may like, you may not like, let's get it in frame good, is that the top of the cape comes off, revealing more of a robotic head, which does fit in with the space theme of this line, but doesn't really fit in with Skeletor overall. If you look at the Filmation Skeletor, the skull is actually floating, and this one clearly has a neck. Matter of fact, that's what the cape's holding on to. And that's a little bit disappointing, but I'll just keep the cloak on, his cloaked head on good. And it just kind of slides over there. It's not really fitting up there. And you know what? I just put it on backwards. Yep. Actually fits right if you do it right. But I'm just going to keep that up there because I don't like the fact that the skull is not floating. I like his Havoc staff and the boots. Like He-Man, these Space Age boots, they just fit this figure line so well. Again, this one doesn't have a lot of articulation. He is a little bit looser than He-Man. He does have shoulder articulation right here, but the arm is pretty well fixed for the action feature, which brings me to the action feature. Let's turn the lights off. And let's turn them on. Let's see. Them down. Let me get some of my backlights off too. There we go. Now to trigger the action features, hit the little buttons on the top. And there he's got Skeletor. Got He-Man. Now, that's cool. The Skeletor, look at that. My little finger got in the way there. I love the way those eyes look. Now his skull is a bit alien looking, especially when you take the hood off like I was talking about a minute ago, and it has the wires in the back. It looks more reminiscent, just looking at it right here, of the Martian Manhunter. And you can see the power only stays on for a few seconds, but the Havoc staff is something I want to talk about. Let's turn it back on. It really doesn't light the Havoc staff up as much as I'd like it to. And as you can see, it does have a blinking function. If you hit it 12, it's fighting me all the way. there it is staying on. You can see it doesn't go up the Havoc staff very well at all. That's a little bit disappointing, but it looks kind of like a good Iron Man power punch or something, so that's cool. And I definitely love the eyes. They really make this figure 100% makes up for everything in the Havoc staff that I don't like, those solid eyes. Hit it one more time, and let's see if we can get that blinking. Nope. There we go. We got the blinking going. Love it. Love it. Okay, we're going to turn that off. He-Man. The same thing. One click. You got the sword, the power sword. Hold it down. There you go. Looks like it's powering up. I have the power! And so, there you go. Let's see. That's how you do it with Skeletor. You hold it down all the way and it starts flashing. That's pretty cool. I'm loving that. That would be a really good Halloween display. You know, I do love He-Man action figures, especially this one in particular because of the blue, but I've really fallen in love with the Skeletor character. As you can tell with our top 10 comic book villains in one of our previous episodes, that's the one that I voted on. It took number 2. Hey, that was my vote. But this Skeletor is just a really great variant for my collection. All right, well, meet me back over at the Nerd Cave and we'll wrap this episode up. See you there. I had so much fun filming this week's episode of Save Toys. Jason, thank you for making this happen for us. If anyone else out there would like to donate a figure to the Save Toys channel, our address is Save Toys, P.O. Box 211, Blackshear, Georgia 31516. And when you donate an action figure to the Save Toys channel, you get invited over to Save Toys Premium. That's our private page on Facebook where you get all your Save Toys goodness a week in advance. You get episodes that never make it to YouTube. You also get to vote on upcoming things in the channel. Like and subscribe to us here at Save Toys YouTube. Hit that notification bell to be notified every time we upload an episode to the channel. We do it about once a week. Also, leave comments. I try to get back with everyone that leaves a comment and let us know what you think of the channel. And until next week, if you like it, collect it. And this week, we're going to be taking a look at my Masters of the Universe Laser Light He-Man and Laser Power Skeletor, and I just got them backwards.